connected to the Jewish religion. They were another sect of the Jewish religion and nothing more than that, guys, you know. So that was the foundation of our religion, my religion, for the first century or so. This is why we have this classification, I assume now, this is why we have this classification of the first century Christians, because for the first century or so, what we're dubbing as Christian, I suppose, weren't even Christian in the way we understand Christianity today for the first 100 years or so after Yeshua's passing from this life, this plane of existence sort of thing, you know. They were known as the Nazarenes, guys, the Nazarenes. They were a sect of Judaism that existed for 100 years or so after Yeshua passed from this world. So the thing is, I've done the independent research to find out these things. I see how fast the sun is going down here now. And as soon as that sun sets now, guys, the temperature will drop 10 degrees as quick as anything, guaranteed. I had to clue this out fairly quickly here now, unfortunately. So this is a long journey for me, guys, trying to, from my Christian roots, trying to understand the nature of this individual that we call our Lord and Savior and all this sort of stuff, the Lord Jesus Christ, trying to understand him from a non-religious perspective, and doing my own independent research and all the rest of it to come to a vastly different understanding of who he was and what he was about and all the rest of it when he was alive on this earth. The one thing that I don't think can be reasonably disputed, guys, and amongst all this though, is the fact that he was a Jewish man. And he passed from this plane of existence as a Jewish man. So, and we are told that he was born, tradition tells us that he was born in Bethlehem. We can only, I guess, take tradition's word on that's where he was born to. There's no other sources, I think, that indicate that he could have been born somewhere else. And so today, Bethlehem lies within that disputed area, that a certain group of people want to claim for themselves. But again, as you guys, this is part of this propaganda. The world believes that this group of people want this area for themselves, but those of us who've done the alternative research that have not bought into the lie and the propaganda know that first, this area was never theirs as their own separate state, their own separate nation, their own separate anything that they classified as their own. That's fact. And ancient history from biblical times onward tells us that it once belonged to the Jewish people. And all the stories and all the rest of it, and even like many Jewish groups say that live in that area now, this is the ancient heartland of Israel itself, or most of their biblical stories. They're great heroes of the Jewish religion and the Jewish culture and so on that lived in these areas. They had their battles, they lived their lives, and all the great stories of the Jewish faith, the Jewish religion, or most of them, come from these areas, guys, you know. So that supersedes anything that this other group of people have to say. You know, like, they have no ground to stand on, guys. They have no ground to stand on, and yet they will pump out a lie for the world to believe, and they've got these rich leaders, we'll say, in these you know what religion I'm talking about, guys. I want to say the religion, countries that are funding these propaganda campaigns, buying up the news media, buying up the colleges, buying up everything that they're able to buy up, pumping hundreds of billions of dollars, I guess, into Western media sources and educational sources and so on, that to perpetuate a lie, to create a lie and to perpetuate a lie that never was, all in this insane evil attempt to try to destroy the state of Israel. And to what end? You know, so that they can have greater control over of that region of the world, guys, so that they can plan better what they want to do in other parts of the world, you know. And so we see now what's been happening over the past, we're not going to get much of a sun. Now this would be great for me to give you a great sunset here, guys. So here we go, this is the sunset we're getting here now. I'm going to try to get a hour into here, guys, but it may get too dull and it may start getting very, very quickly too cold for me to be able to continue this into an hour, so we'll see here now. So we see how this has spread throughout the world in the past 2 years. And it's spread to the point now, guys, that it is becoming alarming in every Christian democratic nation. Because, I mean, this is what they're targeting the West. These extremists want to bring down the West. Guys, this is the larger picture that is playing out here, okay? It's not just what's going on in Israel right now with Israel and Gaza and Israel defending itself. I mean, that's a big part of the puzzle, the overall puzzle. It's a big piece in that puzzle, guys, but it's not the overall picture, guys. And it frustrates the heck out of me that 2 years into all this now, you've still got so much of the planet buying into this tunnel vision propaganda nonsense that it's all about Israel trying to destroy Gaza or whatever the case might be. I mean, the game plan is far more extensive than that alone, guys. The overall objective is much bigger, it's much greater, it's much grander in a diabolical sense than that one little conflict alone. So for 2 years now, guys, Israel has been telling us what we can expect, what the West can expect. They know so well the enemy that they are fighting against and how they operate. And they've been trying to warn the rest of us for the past 2 years, like, watch out. Like they're moving into your countries as well, your nations. They're trying to take over. They're trying to destabilize. You need to be wary of them. You need to be cautious and all the rest of it. And the very thing that Israel tried to warn us about, almost right after their massacre, their attack and massacre and so on, in just 2 years, guys, we have seen it play out before our very eyes. Every freaking thing that Israel did so quickly, I mean, at lightning speed, we've seen how this is just swift, like right through all the nations of the West. What I call the Christian democratic Western world. So when I say the Christian democratic Western world, guys, I am speaking about all of the nations of the world that classify themselves as traditionally, historically Christian, and that is to say that the country was founded upon the Christian religion. It was founded upon Christian principles, Christian ethics, and so on and so forth, to create the cultures that grew up out of the religion of Christianity. So every nation on earth that classifies itself as traditionally, historically a Christian, that has developed free, open democracies because of that type of cultural foundation, we'll say, makes up the Christian democratic Western world. So I mean, without naming every last one of them off, because I'm not up on as much as I should to be able to name every single last one. But we know what they are for the most part. I mean, we're talking about Britain, we're talking about France, we're talking about Germany, we're talking about the Scandinavian nations. Sweden, Denmark. Like all the Scandinavian nations. We're talking about Australia, we're talking about the United States, we're talking about Canada. Am I missing any? I'm sure I'm missing some. Poland, I believe, some of the Eastern European countries to a fair degree, even though they had communism affecting their culture for a certain period of time, but they're historically Christian nations with Christian backgrounds, Christian culture, and so forth. And the Christian religion, I think, still is predominant in most of these countries. So all of this combined, guys, makes up the democratic Christian Western world. the Western Christian democratic world sort of thing. This is what the extremists within this religion are trying to bring down. It's not just Israel alone, it's all of these nations combined they're trying to bring down. And you ask yourself, guys, why so many people from so many of these countries are being pumped into these free democratic Christian countries, and almost without exception, without fail, they're trying to take over. They're trying to impose their religion. They're trying to impose their beliefs. They're not moving in and trying to assimilate. They're moving in and gradually trying to take over. Why is that, guys? It is happening. It's clearly happening. And so here we've got Britain right now fighting to retain its culture, fighting to retain its traditional identity against this onslaught of extremism taking over, like all their major cities and all the rest of it sort of thing. We just recently, only a day or two, had a bombing in a synagogue in one of their larger I think a small town, larger community in England. We've had attacks against Jewish people in many parts of the United States. A poor woman, apparently, I found it recently, in the United States was burned alive, an elderly woman, I think a Holocaust survivor. I'm hearing that the Jewish community in Australia is fearing for their lives. I mean, it's just insane the level of anti-Semitism that's going on in Australia right now. Why is that, guys? Why is that? Yeah, just stop and think about this. This has only been just the past couple of years or so. Why is that? These are countries that traditionally, historically, for hundreds and hundreds of years now, have had Jewish communities within their culture sort of thing, and as the nations were developing and all the rest of it, and never ever had any issues, guys. And never had any issues. We have had a small Jewish community here in this province for the better part of a century here now, guys, who have been virtually invisible. They have never caused an ounce of problems for us the whole freaking time that they've been here. They have assimilated, they have their little place of worship, they have their community, they're into the community, they work, they have businesses, they're law-abiding citizens, they pay their taxes, they live like all the rest of us sort of thing. They're not coming in, they're not trying to take over, and that's the way it's been with Jewish culture. At least for the past 400, 500, 600 years, I would say for the whole time that they've existed in any country, they've gotten a bad name, like hundreds of years ago in a lot of countries, but very falsely so, because of the prejudice that exists within our religion, that has existed within our religion as well, toward Jewish people. There's still some of that within the Christian religion. I wish to good God we could find a way to root it out completely, because where it's bad enough in the other religion, the religion, it's in their teachings and their doctrine and all the rest of it. You could see how people get brainwashed to be against Jewish people within that religion. But guys, it is absolutely, utterly, completely inexcusable for it to exist within Christian cultures when you realize that the founder of our religion was the Jew himself. And he never converted to Christianity, he died a Jew. Now people never stop to think about that, but the man died a Jew. So whatever formed into the Christian religion hundreds of years after the fact was people's doings, by trying to change his life, trying to change his teachings, trying to change what he was about into something utterly unrecognizable to what his first followers would have understood him to be about, and what he was trying to get across to the world, sort of thing, So again, when you do the independent research yourself, when you're willing to do the independent research and find out these things for yourself, and understand that our religion began as a sect of Judaism. So once you understand that, once you accept that, once you get past, the brainwashing that we go through as well, because everybody goes through brainwashing to some degree, and accept the fact that we started off as just another sect of Judaism, then you have to sit back and say to yourself, there is absolutely no excuse under heaven for there to be anti-Semitism within the Christian religion. So it has existed in the past. There are still people that classify themselves as Christian that have issues with the Jewish religion and still propagate lies about Jewish people and all the rest of it sort of thing. And it's sad, it's shameful, it shouldn't exist, and we need to try to find some way to root it out completely, you know, because there's no place for it in the world, guys. This is classified as one of the oldest hatreds on earth. And it's time for this hatred to end. It's time for it to end, guys. It's time for us to figure out a way to make sure it ends and never ever raises its ugly demonic head ever again, you know. So there's one more thing I want to get into here now, guys. I think I'm going close to my hour here now. Very, very close. Okay, I got 10 minutes. I'm going to go try a full hour and cut it off there, guys. I'm losing my lighting faster now. So I'm hoping this is coming out well, guys. I'm hoping you're hearing me well, sort of thing. I won't know now, guys. This is the worst thing about this. I don't have the screen on the front of the camera here, guys. The model of the GoPro that I have doesn't have the screen on the front where I can see what I'm recording as I'm recording. So I have to keep turning it around to see like what how much time I've used and how it looks and all the rest of it, sort of thing. So for the past 2 years, guys, I have been struggling to figure out how I can be more active in this movement. So there's two things that are beginning to develop now 2 years into this. So I'll touch on just what happened now over in Britain about 3 weeks ago now, I suppose. And our precious brother, I call him, Tommy Robinson, what he managed to do over in Britain with the rally that he managed to plan and get set up and so on. I watched the footage online, guys. There's no mistaking it. That man got 1 million plus people to come to that rally to try to take back their nation from the extremism and the craziness that's going on in their nation right now. Not 100,000 people like mainstream media is trying to brainwash people to believe. It's well over 1 million people. I mean, it's just a sea of people. You can look at the video, the footage yourself, and unless you're blind, or you can't count it all, or whatever, you know, or you're just living in such an insane delusional bubble that you just can't accept basic fundamental facts that your own freaking senses are telling you the difference of. That man had well over 1 million people in that demonstration. And so what is beginning to happen now